My name is Dr. Milton Brown, and today I'm paying a visit to Huddersfield's Town Hall for a conversation with Mayor of Kirklees, Cllr Cahal Burke. Mayor Burke has dedicated this past year to serving the vibrant community of Kirklees and will soon be handing over the reins to Councillor Nosheen Dad. He has achieved much in his time in office. Notably, he is the first mayor in Kirklees history to have the Irish flag raised above the Town Hall on St. Patrick's Day. As we reflect on his tenure and discuss the significance of Kirklees reaching its 50th anniversary, we aim to explore the insights, challenges, and aspirations that have defined his time in office and his vision for the future of this culturally rich and diverse borough. First of all, I want to say a big thank you for spending a bit of time with KLTV at the end of this long tenure year.
No problem.
A year as mayor. And I want to ask you a few questions. Reflecting on the year as the mayor, what is your most significant challenges and how did you approach these when working with the community?
Yeah, good question. I think I've been elected since 2010. I'm used to challenges within the council and different ways of doing things, which often poses issues to us as we try and progress things and do the best for our communities. And I suppose during my year as mayor, I've met many challenges as well. It's about perseverance, I think. I think if you really, really want to achieve something, you've got to speak to different people. You've got to bring different people together and do things as best you can. But you've got to involve people. And usually I don't take no for an answer straight away. So I carry on as best I can. A director who will remain nameless, when I was pursuing an issue for a local school, said, "You're like a dog with a bone, you just need to leave it." And I said, "I can't. I represent the people, I'm trying to do my best for them." And that's how I go about doing things, really, just trying to get things done. And when you're met with no, how else can we achieve what we want to do?
You got a solution-focused attitude to things, yeah?
I hope so, yeah. And it's trying to find something that will benefit everybody in the end. Even if it's not everything that you want, you're getting somewhere. And some people communication is really, really key to that.
Did you get over all the challenges that said no?
This year, I think I've done pretty well. I think I've achieved, a lot of different things that I wanted to do. There were challenges, absolutely, but we overcame them as best we could, and we got to somewhere where we needed to be, or more or less.
Excellent. Historical St. Patrick's Day, the flag being raised above the town hall. What inspired you to do that, and also what's been the impact in the local community?
Yeah, so I'd seen this happen in other places. I've got a lot of family here and in Manchester, and I remember as a child in Manchester, there was always big parades, and the Irish flag would be over the town hall and everything like that. And other boroughs around the country do the same thing, and they celebrate all the different communities. Yeah. And I often felt, well, nothing happens here. And I had a lot of people ask me, and officially through the Irish Centre and through the parade committee, about could we do it here? And it was something that I thought should be an easy win, that we could achieve that. It didn't prove to be an easy win, and it proved quite difficult really to try and achieve. But I wanted the Irish community to be recognised for their contribution over the years, over many, many generations of them being here. Because they've always looked at the town hall as something that somebody else does. It's nothing to do with us. And I think a lot of communities would feel in a similar way. The town hall is for people to do their own thing in there. It's nothing to do with us, for registering births and marriages and that perhaps, but nothing else really, where people felt it was part of them. And the town hall should be part of us. Yeah. It should be part of all of the communities that make up our fantastic town. So I thought a little acknowledgement by raising a flag over the town hall would go some way to including and acknowledging the contributions of all those past and present.
And I guess it says something to other minority communities as well, that the town hall is for everybody.
Absolutely, we're a very diverse community.
Yeah.
And lots of different communities come together, and people of different backgrounds, faiths, come together to form this town that we have, which is a fantastic town. And we need to do more to acknowledge everybody's contribution, no matter how big or little that may be. I think it's vitally important.
I certainly agree with you that it's a fantastic town. It's a fantastic borough. Diverse and very community orientated, regardless of whether you're in Home Firth or in the heart of Fartown. personal highlights. Every mayor will have their own perspectives on what's been the biggest highlight of their tenure. What was yours?
There's many highlights, Milton. I think people have asked me before, what, there must be, what is the one thing, standout thing? I'd be doing a disservice to any of the groups or individuals or charities or businesses, schools that I've had the fantastic opportunity to come in contact with and to be involved with. There are a few, I suppose, a number of key events throughout the year which will stay with me. Remembrance is a very special time, and how we remember here in Kirklees is really, really important and really special, how we come together. For, this year when we were in Greenhead Park, the TV cameras were there, and they showed Belfast, Edinburgh, Huddersfield, Cardiff, London, and it was nice, and I was really proud of them. And I had people texting me, phone, say, you're on Sky, and I was like, for what's happening? And they were there, and I think that was fantastic. So remembrance is a special time. The opportunities you were afforded during that time through the military and through the army and taking the salute and being part of that is really, really special. And that will stay with me. We've always had our remembrance events in Limley, my own ward, but to be part of that as the first citizen, as the mayor, and to be able to parade through your town. And I'd done that as deputy through Dewsbury, which was really, really lovely. And then I got the opportunity to do it as mayor. So that's one of them.
Do you feel enriched by it all?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very fulfilling year.
Yeah.
I've taken an awful lot from it, but I've put an awful lot into it. I was fortunate enough to be afforded the opportunity to become the Mayor of Kirklees, and I said, if I'm going to do it, I'll put everything into it.
Yeah.
And I want to do as much as I can, and I've accepted nearly everything that's come in, apart from when there's conflicts with the diary. And even then, I've tried to go back to anything that I have missed, so that I wouldn't miss out on that opportunity. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and I didn't want to miss it. Things that I didn't know about. I've learned so much.
Yeah.
And I've said that to everybody. I see myself as somebody who knows quite a bit, but always learning. And this year has been a big learning curve for me to understand more about the diverse communities that we have.
Can you just share a little bit more about the diverse communities then? That would be really great to hear what you think about the diverse communities. Were you aware of them all beforehand, or did you have any experiences of them all beforehand?
Yeah, so I've worked in all over Kirklees, North Kirklees, and here in Huddersfield as well. So well aware of the diversity that exists, because I've always been someone who thought this is a great thing. Being such a welcoming place, such an outward-looking authority that we welcome people in, and we embrace them, and we work with people and break down those barriers that are there. It is difficult at times, and it's more difficult in some communities or some of the towns and villages around Kirklees, where they stick to their own towns and villages and don't move around. But that's the makeup. Kirklees is huge. It's one of the biggest local authorities in England by size. So what people do in Home Firth is going to be different than what people do in Cllr Cahal.
I would say size and demographics as well.
Absolutely, yeah. So you've got the population, and you've got a big area to cover as well, and it's a big area to try and come to terms with. Where we've got a hospital here. If you live in Denby Dale, you're not going to go to Huddersfield. If you live in Cllr Cahal, you're not going to come to Huddersfield. And we've got to look at, there's a bigger issue there about transport and links and how we bring communities together into the heart of things. Huddersfield is the administrative hub, but still a lot of people aren't connected or would associate with Huddersfield, those who live further afield.
It's an interesting one, that the mayor still carries a lot of weight and respect, and is held in high esteem and in high regard as the #1 citizen of Kirklees. Did you get any grief anywhere, or anybody saying we should be done with this role now? Come on,
I would have thought so. I think people are really, really positive about
That's
it,
right.
and I think perhaps I wouldn't have known that without doing it and to understand. I've always seen. I never thought I would be mayor. I never thought I'd get elected. It's not something that I actively sought out. I went to university. I started teaching. Got involved in local issues, local projects, trying to help young people's services with youth clubs and that. So I got elected, and I saw the role of the mayor as a very important one. But I never thought I'd be mayor. But I've seen a lot of good mayors over the years, and maybe ones that weren't as good. But they were all different, and they do things differently. I approached it, I suppose, as trying to do as much as I do at a local level for the council, as a councillor in my area, to work as hard as I can for people to try and get things done, and trying to do that as mayor. People do approach you with different things. You know, if you're in the town centre and people see you, they'll come up and say, why have you put that down New Street? And you know what I'm on about.
I know.
And for me, it's like, okay, it wasn't my decision. So I explain how the decisions are made.
Absolutely.
And where the funding comes from. So it's more of trying to explain how things evolve and how things have come about from a funding point of view and what things can be used for, and then the decision-making process. So they understand a little more. They may not be happy with the answer. I may not be happy with the answer either, but I would just give an impartial view of how things go. Change, did somebody say something once about the chains? About, I think, and do you know what? Somebody did ask me on the chains and the value, what they cost.
Yeah. The bling.
Yeah, and
Is there an official name for this?
the chains of office.
Oh, it's the chains of office.
Yeah. So I'm the mayor when I wear the chains.
Yeah.
And I can tell you a story about that. As deputy mayor, I was invited to an event in Batley, and this drop on the chains, the little hook in the back came off before I left. So I couldn't wear the chains. And even asked could I wear the Huddersfield chains, but I wasn't allowed to do that. So I went to the event without the chains. And I was speaking to the civic attendant, and I said, not very chatty around here, are they? No chains, nobody's interested. So it's the chains of office, that's what it's about. Yeah. I try and add a little bit to it, as each mayor does, but it's the chains that people see, and that's what they expect to see when you go place on different events and that. So yeah, so somebody mentioned chains, about the value of the chains, and you know, we could get money for that and all different things. And there was somebody else that stood beside me on the other side, chipped in with, no, we should keep and preserve our heritage and our history, and the chains are really, really important. If you get rid of the chains, what do you get rid of next? Until everything is gone. It's a one-off. So yeah, I value the role. I value it more, obviously having been in the role and done 12 months now.
Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about the charity. How well did it do this year?
Yeah, so I chose 2 charities. I tried to do a little bit more than, I don't know, I saw the opportunity, it's a one-off opportunity to be mayor, and I wanted to support 2 charities that I've been involved with for many years in the Linley area, and who've been working to support local initiatives that we do as well. So I live in the Linley ward, live in Linley. The hospital is quite close to me. NHS is very important to me, as it is many, many people. And I wanted to support that charity that does great work in the hospital, going above and beyond where parts of the NHS can't get to, and helping those most in need to make it a more comfortable journey for them whilst they're receiving care in the hospital. So the Cllr Cahal and Huddersfield NHS Trust was one of my charities. And the other one was the Royal Air Force Association, who I've worked with over many years, and having had family serve in the RAF, it was a natural choice for me. And it was nice to bring those 2 together, to work together, to, you know, the most important thing is raising awareness so that people understand what the charities are doing, how they're doing it, and how they make an impact. And through those case studies, they can do that, and getting that recognition out there so that people are more aware and familiar with the work of the charities. It's been a great year working with them. They do fantastic work, both of the charities. They've worked very well together. They've raised a lot of awareness through different events that I've been at, and we going to events they're at and working together, and then raising vital funds. I think we're somewhere near 20,000 at the moment. That's been raised. And it's very difficult times, you know, with the cost of living crisis, and people are making decisions, very tough decisions. People find it increasingly more difficult to part with money, and I totally understand that. But people have been very generous and very welcoming and supportive. So
a bad total for a year's work.
No, and it'll make a huge difference to those charities.
I guess I want to ask you now, what next for you? You're finishing in a couple of weeks' time. What next? What happens to the mayor, the former mayor, when they've finished their year in office?
And maybe there's a room or somewhere where former mayors go to. I don't know. People often ask that, what are you going to do now? Yeah. But it's like I never did anything before this. You know, I work part-time. I teach part-time. I've done less this year to take on this role, so I've you know, cut right back on what I do in order to be able to do as much as I can with the role of the mayor. So I'll do a little bit more of that. And I'm a councillor in Linley, and I'm up for election in 2 years' time, so I've got that to do. And then I'll see what other things come my way, and whatever opportunities come my way. For me, it's always been trying to be a balancing act of trying to do what I can. The council and being elected kind of took over as the main thing I did, and teaching was something that I kind of do part-time. Yeah. But council and representing people and doing the best in my area where I live, and where I represent is what's important to me. So I'll see what happens. I'll be teaching part-time, doing my council work, and if any other opportunities come around, then I'll have a look at them as well.
Have you got visions of ever going to be an MP?
I'd never say never about anything I do, and I think that was becoming mayor was something where some people said to me years ago, would you ever think about being mayor? And I went, yeah, of course I would. Yeah, I never rule anything out. But yeah, you got to know your area, and it's about timing and everything else. And, as long as we've got good representation, that's important. Very, very important. And, there's an election coming up before Christmas, probably. And we'll see how that goes. But we've got some good candidates around.
Yeah. Well, I have to say, we've followed you around Kirklees local TV this year, and every time I've seen you've been respectful, open, caring. You're wanting to know people. You've listened to people, and not just listened because they've got the office chains on. You're a real inspiration and very positive thinking person as well. And I just think I hope the one who's taking over next is Councillor
Dad.
Yeah, Dad will take it to another level.
Yeah, I think so, and she'll be fantastic. And as I say, each mayor brings their own unique way of doing things. I was afforded the opportunity, something I never thought I would do, and I thought I'd take it, grasp it, and do as much as I could. I've learned so much. I've met so many fantastic people, groups, and organisations that I will continue on to meet with and talk with, and do things with together, because it's fantastic where we are, where we live. We need to be more positive about where we are. The work that you do in KLTV is absolutely paramount to doing that and to ensuring that we've got that voice and that we communicate effectively who we are, where we're from, and the fantastic things that happen in our area. Because there's too much doom and gloom. There's some negative publicity in the media sometimes with particular, one in particular perhaps.
Particular communities.
A particular media outlet.
Okay.
Which isn't helpful. I don't think it's helpful. Yes, we report what's happening. But there's a lot of good happening, which just gets...
Which is what we try and do.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's really, really important, because people need to hear the good things that happen. If you hear some of the press, sometimes you think, Huddersfield is no good, Kirklees is no good, and nobody'd ever want to come here or do anything here. If people have got issues with where we are and where we live, let's work together to try and make a difference. And we can do that. We can all be on social media saying, this is rubbish, that's bad. We live here. Let's try and work together to do it. Absolutely. Whatever way that may be. I've really, really enjoyed the year. As you say, I've put myself into it, and I've put my heart and soul into it. I'll need a rest at the end of it. Is probably the first thing I'll do, is have a rest. School term will be finishing soon, so have a rest, and most importantly, I think reflect back and think about all the fantastic things that I've been able to do and the opportunities that I've been given this year in a once-in-a-lifetime role. So that'll be nice to do as well. And thank you for being part of that journey. And thank you for sharing part of your journey with us. No problem, thank you. It's been an inspiration. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Nice one.